Hi, I'm Joanna Smith, and I'm the author of Stargazer, the horse who loved history. Look at Stargazer. He's a beautiful brown horse, and he's got a star on his forehead. And you see he's pulling this little carriage. That carriage is called a sulky because he's a trotting horse. He races pulling this little sulky, and that is his trainer, and that's Clancy. So anyway, we're about to get started for the race. So it's on your mark, get set, go! And Stargazer is trotting, he's trotting. Oh, he's trotting as fast as he can, and he's getting tired, and he finishes last. Oh no, he finishes last. So Clancy, his trainer, takes him back to the barn where he lives, and who shows up but Barry, the owner. That's a cigar in his mouth. And Barry says, I bet a lot of money on that horse and I lost it all. He said, get rid of him. I never want to see him again. And Clancy says, not yet, not yet. He's young, he'll train. I promise you he'll win the next race, but you just have to give him more time. And Stargazer says, oh, please, please, give me some more time. Give me some more time. And both Barry and Clancy say, would you stop talking, Stargazer? So Barry with a cigar walks off that way, and Clancy just walks off that way. Poor Stargazer, he's so scared. He's so scared, he lost. And so across the stable yard, there's a barn, and there's a horse named Shadow Dancer. Shadow Dancer won the race, and everybody is giving Shadow Dancer like lumps of sugar and taking pictures so he'll be in the newspaper. And Stargazer wanted to be in a newspaper. He wanted a lump of sugar, and he put his head down because he felt so sad. And in the stall right next to Stargazer was a horse named Bugle. Bugle was a very big black horse. And he looked down at Stargazer and he said, you're a loser. You've lost every race you've ever been in, and nobody even likes you. Oh, Stargazer, he cried and he cried and he cried. He was so sad. So the next day, Clancy, his trainer, comes and he hooks him up to the sulky, and Clancy does the reins like this because that means go. And so they trot and they trot and they trot and they trot around the track. Not real fast, but for miles. And Stargazer's just exhausted. Every day they do this. And Stargazer's like, oh, I'm so tired. So they trot and they trot and they trot and they trot. And Stargazer is building muscles. He's building stamina. So finally they're out there trotting. And Stargazer's so strong he didn't even feel the sulky. As a matter of fact, he's got the biggest muscles of any horse in the barn. So the day of the race comes, and who shows up? We know him, don't we? His name is Barry because he has a cigar in his mouth, and he just looks Stargazer up and down. He doesn't even pat him. He doesn't say good luck. He's not a very nice owner, do you think? No. So Clancy harnesses him up to the sulky, and all the horses come out because they all have to start at the same time. And so they have the man who tells the horses to go, and he says, get ready, get set, go! And Stargazer, he's in the lead. He's in the lead. My God, he's in the lead. horse's head right there. And then there's a horse's head right there. And all the horses pass him. And once again, he finishes last. So he goes back to the barn. Barry, the owner, shows up and says, get rid of him by tomorrow. I never want to see this horse again. I gambled a lot of money and I lost it. So poor Stargazer, he's in his stall. And you know what? He cries because he's so sad, because nobody's nice to him, nobody pats him, and he wants a friend to pat him, you know. So the very next day, well, Clancy, the trainer, leads Stargazer out, and there's sort of an old rusty truck there. And Clancy says to Mr. Garcia, he said, you want this horse? And Mr. Garcia says, yeah, he's a good-looking horse. How much you want? He says, take him for free. Get him out of here right now. Everybody thinks I'm the worst trainer on the track because of this horse. So Mr. Garcia, he leads Stargazer into the truck. And there are no windows in the truck. And Stargazer's all by himself. And so the truck starts off and the truck starts off. And there are all these potholes in the road. And so the truck bounces this way, then bounces that way. And poor little Stargazer is being bounced against the walls, back and forth and back and forth. And so Stargazer begins to hear cars, you know, like honk, 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 and honk, 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 and honk, honk, honk. He really is not familiar with honking cars. They didn't have them at the track. So he's like, what's going to happen to me next? So the truck stops, and he's in the middle of a city. He didn't know anything about cities. He's never been in one before. Mr. Garcia leads him and hitches him up to this huge contraption with 4 big wheels. He's like, how can I win a race? This carriage is so big and so heavy. It's got 4 wheels. I can't win a race. And Mr. Garcia is sitting on the seat, and he says, come on, everybody, come on. Take a ride of historic Philadelphia. Take a ride of historic Philadelphia. Well, poor Stargazer, he doesn't know what Philadelphia is. He didn't know anything. So 4 people, they climb up the steps and they sit in the carriage. And so then Mr. Garcia picks up the reins like this, which means go fast to Stargazer, who trots. He's passing the cars. He's trotting around. And Mr. Garcia says, oh, whoa. He says, Stargazer, we're in a city. The only thing you do is walk. How would, these are different rules. These are different rules. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. But at least it's easy. You just walk all day. And he talks to other carriage horses, and they say, yeah, we stop in front of the historic places in Philadelphia. So Stargazer is stopped right in front of, what's in Philadelphia? Who knows? Raise your hand. What's in Philadelphia? Independence Hall. So he's standing there, and Mr. Garcia wants, of course, more customers. But this lovely woman comes out with a little girl, 8 years old, and she sees Mr. Garcia. She says, hiya, Mr. Garcia, how you doing? I see you've got a beautiful new horse. And Mr. Garcia says, oh, good horse too. And so Gretchen is like, oh, mommy, oh, please let me pet this horse. Please, please, please. And the mother, Mrs. Scattergood, says, I don't know. Will this horse bite my daughter? He says, never. So Stargazer puts his head down, and Gretchen pats his head. This is the first time ever anybody patted his head. So Gretchen says to Stargazer, guess what I just learned? I've been in Independence Hall. Stargazer says, I don't know. And she said, I found out what the Declaration of Independence is. Do you know what it is? Stargazer shakes his head no. He says, no, I don't know what it is. Tell me, Gretchen, tell me, what is it? What is it? And she says, well, in the Declaration of Independence, it says, all men and women are created equal. Doesn't matter what color you are, or if you're white or black or brown, doesn't matter. Everybody's equal. In Stargazer, his ears do this because he's thinking about this. Oh, he says, Gretchen, what about us horses? Are we created equal? And she says, oh yeah. He said, really? He says, you mean a black horse, a brown horse, a palomino horse, a white horse, a spotted horse? Are we all created equal? Gretchen says, sure you are. He is so happy. He has been created equal to all these other horses. And after losing races, he thought he was a loser. He thought he was never going to be as good as another horse. And now he finds out he's as good because of the Declaration of Independence. So we're all going to remember that, the Declaration of Independence. So Gretchen is still patting him and talking to him. Next, she's going to tell him about the Constitution, but not right this second. So Mrs. Scattergood says, Gretchen, it's time to go. Come on, Gretchen. And so Gretchen says, Mommy, wait. And she looks in her little pocketbook and she digs around in her little pocketbook, and guess what she finds? A lump of sugar. And she holds it up to Stargazer, and he licks it out of her hand. Oh, it's magic inside what sugar does to you. He found out that he's equal to other horses, and he got a piece of sugar. He said, Gretchen, come back and teach me to read. I want to learn all about Philadelphia history. She said, sure, every day after school I'll come. And she did. And do you know how smart he was? That within 1 week, not only did he learn the alphabet, children's books, high school books, college books, he learned every book out there. And he was quite studious, because now, if Mr. Garcia could not answer a question about Philadelphia history, world history, you know who had the answer? Stargazer. Stargazer knew all the answers, and he knew he was the best, the very, very best at giving the answers. So then he wanted to learn how to speak languages, because we have visitors from all over the world come to Philadelphia. So he learned Chinese and Spanish and Italian and Norwegian. So whoever showed up, if they couldn't speak any English, he started having a conversation with them and told them everything they needed to know. And he even knew world history, so he could talk about that. He was clearly the smartest horse, at least in Philadelphia. So, things had been going very well, but then summer ended and things were not going so well. So one day, it was starting to rain a little bit, but Stargazer had to work. So this lovely French couple said, we want to see Valley Forge. It's our honeymoon. And so poor little Stargazer is trying to go up Valley Forge, and it's slippery, and he slips and he falls down on his knees really, really hard. It scratched his knees and made them bleed a little bit, and he's crying, and he doesn't want to get up because his knees hurt. And so Mr. Garcia hits him with a whip and says, "Get up, get up. We're going to pull this carriage all the way up." And he just can't do it. His knees hurt him so much. And all of a sudden, he's sort of looking around, and he looks. And he says, "You're a ghost horse." And Nelson, the ghost horse, says, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I am Nelson, the ghost horse. I was George Washington's favorite horse. And I taught all the horses, even if they were scared, if the bullets were going right past them or cannonballs, you keep going because you have to have courage. You always have to show courage. Even if you fall down, Stargazer, get up. Keep pulling that carriage." And Stargazer said, "Weren't you afraid?" And Nelson said, "I am very brave, and I'm going to teach you to be very brave too." Boom! Nelson, the ghost horse. Where did he go? Do you see them, boys and girls? Does anybody see him anywhere? No, he just disappeared. Stargazer got up and his knees hurt, but he pulled the couple all the way up to the top of the hill. So then, now, there are fewer and fewer customers. And Mr. Garcia says one day, he says, "I can't feed you as much." He said, "I don't make very much money now. I can give you a little hay, but no oats." And so Mr. Garcia says, "Listen, Stargazer, after I work all day driving this carriage," he said, "I have to go to my second job, washing dishes, so I can save money to send to my parents in Venezuela, because they don't have enough money." And he said, "I have too many children, so if I got to work, you got to work." So Stargazer is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. Well, now it's getting harder and harder to pull the carriage. Stargazer's not happy. It's cold. It's very cold out there. And he doesn't have a nice warm blanket. And he doesn't have oats. And he's just tired from not enough food and oats. And so Gretchen runs in one day and says, "Stargazer, guess what's going to happen in Philadelphia? Guess what's happening?" Stargazer kind of said, "I don't know what." And she said, "We are having the International Conference for World Peace, and the President of the United States is hosting this. And 180 nations from around the world will come to Philadelphia to discuss world peace." And Stargazer understands this immediately. He says, "I got this." He said, "I'm starving, and I haven't had a veterinarian look at my knees, so I want world peace too." So the day before the International Conference on World Peace is to begin, every TV station in the world is watching. And so a blizzard blows in that night. The blizzard blows, and it blows snow and ice and snow and ice. So Mr. Garcia hitches Stargazer up to a sleigh. A sleigh doesn't have wheels. It's just like a sled that you get on and ride. And poor Stargazer was so skinny. And so he said, "Mr. Garcia, we're going to be right at the hotel where the president is staying. And we're bound to get some customers because of the ice. The cars can't go in the ice like this." So they're standing there in front of this big, famous hotel in Philadelphia. And all of a sudden the doors burst open. And who comes out? 6 men come out like this, because they are the Secret Service. It is their job to protect the life of the president. And so then the President of the United States comes out waving, and the crowds are saying, "There's our president! There's our president!" Everybody's so happy. And then the president takes a step, stepped on ice, fell down, hit his head, and he's unconscious. He needs to go to a hospital right now. So the Secret Service are saying, "Bring a car over here." And the cars are going on the ice because cars can't go on ice. There's not a single car. So the Secret Service says, "Get that horse and sleigh." So Stargazer's walking very carefully on the ice. And so they get the president on the sleigh, and the Secret Service man is driving him because he wants to get to the hospital as fast as he can. And he takes the whip and he hits Stargazer. Stargazer can't go fast on ice. So he's trying to, like walk a little faster maybe. So he gets hit again. And he's going a little bit faster. But what Stargazer didn't know, there are so many potholes in Philadelphia, and they had filled up partially with ice. Stargazer didn't see this, and he crashed through the ice on his knees, and he couldn't get up. Now, boys and girls, what do you think is going to happen? Who is going to come and help Stargazer? Can he even get the president to the hospital? Will this happen? I don't know. That's why we have to read the whole book to find out what happens. Are we even going to have a conference on world peace? What's going to happen? The president's unconscious right now on a sled, pulled by a horse with bloody knees, who's crying. And getting hit doesn't make him want to go any faster either. So boys and girls, there are so many surprises at the very end of this book that you will never guess them until you read Stargazer, The Horse Who Loved History, available on Amazon. And guess what? I'm writing a sequel. Okay, boys and girls, bye-bye.